You know the feeling of walking into a Rolex store, ready to see the watches everyone dreams of, only to be told the models you want aren't available, or that you'll have to wait months. Frustrating, right? But what if this isn't just chance or high demand? Behind the polished glass and shining displays, there's a world most buyers never see. Every interaction, every decision, every choice in the Rolex buying process is carefully controlled. Some watches appear out of nowhere, while others seem impossible to find. Deals that look too good to be true often hide surprises, and even having the money doesn't guarantee getting one. For those who think buying a Rolex is simple, think again. There's a silent game at play, one that separates the lucky few from the rest. Connections, timing, and knowledge can make all the difference. And while the outside world only sees the luxury and prestige, there are layers beneath the surface, mysteries that most shoppers never even notice. This time, we're going inside the hidden world of Rolex shopping, where you'll see the process in a completely new light, and you might never look at a Rolex watch the same way again. Let's begin. Number 1. Dealers, not Rolex, decide who gets the watch. When people think about buying a Rolex, they often assume that Rolex itself controls who gets the watches. In fact, that's not how the process works in reality. Rolex distributes the watches through authorized dealers, and once the watches reach a dealer, the dealer decides who gets them. This means your experience depends a lot on the dealer's own internal system, not on a fair queue managed by Rolex. Rolex only sends a limited number of high-demand models to each dealer in a given period. Dealers then manage their own list of client interest, but this list is not a guaranteed queue. In many cases, it functions more like a private database or preference list where the dealer prioritizes certain customers over others. A journalist in watch community analysis explained that many dealers don't operate a true wait list at all. Instead, they use priority systems based on who they want to sell to first. So what do dealers actually look for? Things like purchase history, loyalty, regular contact, and even the way you present yourself can influence their decisions. Dealers are often encouraged to offer limited watches to customers they think will continue buying other items, have a strong relationship, or reflect well on the brand. A buyer who has previously bought several items from the store is frequently placed ahead of a first-time visitor, even if the first-timer was there earlier. Because each authorized dealer operates differently, the experience you get can vary dramatically. Some dealers may offer highly sought models only to long-standing clients with multiple purchases. Others may allocate based on how often you visit, how serious you seem, or whether they think you'll continue to buy from them in the future. The bottom line, Rolex doesn't guarantee availability, the dealer does. Meanwhile, many buyers don't realize this next secret until after waiting for a very long time. Number 2, you need purchase history and loyalty to get priority. One surprising secret many Rolex buyers discover too late is this. Simply having the cash to pay for a highly coveted model usually won't cut it. Dealers often look for repeat business and loyalty before offering a limited piece. Authorized Rolex dealers don't receive enough watches to meet demand for popular references. Because of this, they use their limited stock as a reward for customers who have already shown they are serious and loyal buyers. In many markets, local dealers want customers who will return again and again. That's because repeat customers help dealers hit sales targets and build long-term business success. If you've never bought anything from a dealer before, they may see you as a one-off buyer, someone who might buy a single watch and never return. In contrast, a loyal customer who has a long record of purchases might be seen as a valuable client worth rewarding. Watch community insiders explain that some buyers are encouraged to start with lesser models first, like a Datejust or Oyster Perpetual, before moving on to hot models like the Daytona. Dealers sometimes suggest this because it builds purchase history, which then increases the buyer's priority for future allocations. It's a long-term strategy, but it often works better than simply walking in with the money and expecting immediate access. This means buyers who have previously bought several watches, high-value jewelry, or other luxury items from the same store are more likely to be prioritized. Your purchase history with the dealer matters a lot more than your money or desire. In short, money alone doesn't guarantee priority. Loyalty and purchase history do. Dealers reward customers they know and trust, and those with a strong track record often jump ahead of first-time buyers in line. Now, this next secret will have you rethink your method of purchase. Number 3. Walk-ins rarely get the hottest models. If you think you can walk into a Rolex authorized dealer and buy a popular Rolex on the spot, think again. Many buyers are surprised to learn that just because you see a model on display doesn't mean it's for sale, especially for iconic steel sports models. Dealers often use display models to show the range and craftsmanship of Rolex watches, but they may not actually sell those exact pieces. The most sought-after references are hardly ever available on the shelf for immediate purchase. Instead, dealers expect buyers to join their interest list and wait, sometimes for months or years. With demand estimated to be many times greater than the number of watches produced each year, highly coveted models are especially scarce. Dealers receive limited allocations and often assign them to clients based on their internal criteria, not simply who walked in first. In fact, many buyers report that even if they check in regularly with the dealer, visiting often and asking about availability, they still don't get offered the hottest models when it arrives. This isn't because the dealer doesn't want to sell. It's because those pieces are reserved for buyers who have built loyalty or shown long-term commitment. The real game isn't about showing up. It's about becoming a valued client over time. Even when watches do arrive, dealers may choose to contact select clients before they even list them publicly. Many buyers never get the call because the allocation goes quietly to someone else, often a long-standing customer. So, if you walk into a store expecting to buy a Submariner or Daytona immediately, you'll most likely walk out empty-handed. And secret number 4, you wouldn't believe why it doesn't make sense. Number 4, waiting lists aren't real lines. They're interest lists with no guarantee. When you hear Rolex waiting list, you might think it works like a restaurant queue, first in, first served. In reality, many authorized dealers don't use a true waiting list at all. They use what insiders call an interest list. This list shows which customers want certain models, but it doesn't promise a place in line or an order date. Many customers are effectively in a pool of interest where the dealer chooses who gets allocated, often without transparency, timing, or guarantee. According to industry experts, the legitimacy of wait lists varies widely from dealer to dealer. Some dealership staff tell customers they're on a waiting list, but these lists don't always move chronologically or publicly. Rolex itself does not maintain a centralized global list of buyers. Instead, each dealer handles interest lists according to their own internal system. This means the idea you sign up and wait your turn is often a myth. An authorized dealer might put your name on a list of interested buyers, but this list is nothing more than a record of expressed interest, not an official queue managed by Rolex. In fact, some buyers who have been on dealer interest lists for years report receiving nothing when a new batch arrives. Some buyers even join multiple interest lists at different dealers to increase their chances of getting a call. In many markets, Rolex dealers receive what industry insiders describe as a mystery box of watches with no guarantee of specific models. When new stock arrives, the dealers pick buyers from their interest list based on a mix of internal factors, including purchase history, personal relationships, and subjective judgment, not based on how long a name has been on the list. Because of this, simply signing up is often ineffective on its own. Even though Rolex denies this next secret, the doubt still doesn't go away. Number 5. Rolex holds supply tight on purpose. Demand far exceeds production. One of the most important secrets Rolex rarely talks about publicly is how deliberately constrained its supply is compared with global demand. Rolex produces roughly 1 to 1.2 million watches per year, a figure that sounds large, but in reality, it's far less than the total appetite for its most coveted models. Rolex scarcity isn't accidental, it's the engine of desire. The imbalance between supply and global demand keeps wait times long and resale prices high. This limited supply exists for several reasons. First, Rolex controls nearly all aspects of manufacturing, including design, machinery, movements, bracelets, and finishing. in-house at facilities in Switzerland. This meticulous approach means brands like Rolex cannot simply flood the market without slowing production or compromising the stringent quality standards they are famous for. Second, even though Rolex claims scarcity isn't a deliberate strategy, the result functions almost as if it were Rolex does not increase production just to meet demand. Analysts observe that demand for iconic stainless steel sports models, like the Submariner, GMT Master II, and Daytona, strongly outstrips production volumes, which contributes to multi-year wait times. Economists call this managed scarcity, meaning the brand maintains limited availability on purpose to preserve exclusivity and value. By deliberately restricting supply, Rolex keeps demand high and resale premiums strong. Even if Rolex made more watches, dealers might struggle to sell them all at full price, and the brand's prestige could dilute. In many cases, dealers cannot promise delivery dates, further fueling the sense of scarcity. A Rolex AD overview shows that some dealers may receive as few as 40 examples of a popular stainless steel Submariner per year, while thousands of customers may be interested. There simply aren't enough watches to satisfy every buyer at retail. The brand's tightly controlled global authorized dealer network also means watches are allocated sparingly across regions, so even where interest is high, supply stays limited. Now, this next secret is probably the most practical if you want to reduce your waiting time. Number 6. Location and dealer. Dynamics can influence your wait time. When buying a Rolex, the city or dealer you choose isn't just a convenience, it's a major factor in how quickly you might get your watch. Rolex distributes limited stock to its network of authorized dealers worldwide, but the amount each dealer receives depends on several variables. Dealers with higher sales volumes or strong performance records often get larger allocations of popular models. These dealers can offer more pieces to their customers, potentially reducing wait times for loyal clients. Geographic location also matters significantly. Major urban centers with wealthy populations and high demand, such as big cities in Europe, North America, or Asia, tend to have longer interest lists because more people compete for the same limited stock. In contrast, dealers in smaller cities or less competitive markets sometimes move through their interest lists more quickly. This dynamic means that two buyers living in different regions might experience vastly different wait times for the same reference. Some Rolex enthusiasts recommend contacting multiple authorized dealers in nearby regions to increase the chances of being offered a model sooner, though this approach isn't guaranteed. But the truth is that not all dealers are equal. Allocation size, local demand, and even dealer sales performance can shape how long you wait for certain models. Another factor is dealer strategy. Some dealers intentionally limit how often they contact buyers about incoming stock, instead focusing on their most valuable clients or those with extensive purchase histories. Other dealerships may be more transparent or flexible in allocating watches to a broader range of customers. Local economic trends and fashion preferences can also influence demand for certain models. For instance, styles that are popular in one region may draw bigger interest lists, while other areas see more modest interest. In essence, your wait time partly depends on where and how you approach buying your Rolex. Though Rolex controls world production, which dealer you choose, its local demand and its sales history profoundly affect how quickly you might receive your dream watch. The next point is a key deciding factor on how Rolex watches are distributed. Number 7. Certain models get bigger priority. Because of popularity, not all Rolex watches are created equal when it comes to availability. Some models are so popular that Rolex and its dealers prioritize them differently, which makes them much harder to obtain than others. The brand's most iconic stainless steel sports watches, like the Submariner, GMT Master II, and Daytona, are consistently in higher demand than many other models, and that affects how they're allocated and how long you wait. For example, the Submariner is widely considered one of the most desired Rolex models in the world, and it's often the first reference many buyers chase. It's popular because it's both a historic diving watch and a versatile everyday timepiece. Dealers often receive only extremely limited numbers of Submariners compared with how many people want them, which means interest lists fill up fast and waits can stretch years. Another strong example is the Rolex Daytona. It's not just a chronograph, it's a symbol of status and investment. Certain versions, like the yellow gold Daytona with a green dial, are even rarer because Rolex produces fewer of them each year. Some dealers might only receive a handful of these per year, making them very much harder to secure than even other sport models. This priority dynamic means that dealers often allocate more of their limited stock to the most sought-after models first, and buyers who want them wait the longest. Meanwhile, watches that are less hyped may be available sooner or more frequently. This difference in allocation also affects resale value because these models often sell for prices far above retail on the secondary market, reinforcing their status and rarity. You know what's even more interesting? Check out secret number 8. Number 8. Rolex raises retail prices almost every year, and you pay more than you think. One of the least obvious truths about buying a Rolex is that the official retail prices rarely stay flat for long. Rolex adjusts its manufacturer's suggested retail prices, MSRP, annually, and these increases are most notable on precious metal and two-tone models. Even stainless steel watches, which are most popular, show small price rises in many markets each year. These adjustments matter because they set the baseline cost for both new watches and valuations on the secondary market. For example, in early 2025, Rolex increased prices across its range, with gold and two-tone models rising significantly, around 5% to 8%, while stainless steel pieces saw more modest increases of roughly 1%. Importantly, Rolex doesn't publicly announce these price moves far in advance. Dealers simply update the official list when the changes take effect. So many buyers don't know about a rise until they walk into a store and find that the watch they budgeted for last month costs more today. Price increases also intersect with scarcity economics. When dealers receive limited stock and Rolex has raised prices, secondary market premiums don't always fall in line with the new MSRP. In some markets, professional models trade at levels well above official retail, sometimes as much as 50% to 100% higher, because actual transaction prices diverge from the MSRP due to demand. Even when price increases seem small on paper, they have a compounding effect over a few years. A model that cost $9,000 5 years ago might now cost over $11,000 at retail, and its gray or secondary market price could be even further above that. These frequent and uneven price adjustments are a silent component of Rolex's brand strategy. Waiting to buy often costs you more, because the MSRP itself ticks upward over time. Let's take a look at this next point and see why prices vary in different markets. Number 9, price premiums and the gray market reveal, hidden costs of access. Another secret Rolex doesn't like to highlight is how the gray market reflects the true cost of access, not just the price itself. While authorized dealers sell at MSRP, the gray market, unofficial sellers outside the Rolex network, often shows the real transactional prices buyers pay for immediate watches. Because demand for popular models far exceeds supply, many Rolex buyers who don't want to wait will go to independent resellers or gray dealers. Gray market prices, especially for the most desirable Rolex models, can run 50% to 100% above official list prices or more, depending on the model and region. For example, iconic chronographs like the Daytona may double their retail price on the secondary market simply because of extreme demand and limited retail availability. However, Rolex itself does not benefit financially from this gray market, but the premiums paid there feed back into perceptions of value and scarcity. Rolex's official network remains the only channel where you can get the full manufacturer warranty and the assured origin of the watch, because these gray markets typically operate online or through private sellers and have no official warranty from Rolex. What most buyers don't realize is that gray market pricing isn't just a markup. It represents a hidden cost of access. You're paying not only for the watch itself, but also for immediacy, convenience, and avoidance of long wait times at authorized dealers. At the same time, the gray market has risks. While reputable gray dealers try to verify watches before sale, only an authorized purchase comes with the brand's full guarantees. In practical terms, if you're comparing a retail price to a gray market price, remember that the premium you see is not just profit for the reseller. It's essentially a time cost for skipping the wait and a scarcity cost built into Rolex's distribution model. That means buyers pay more for immediacy. Unfortunately, there's one secret: buyers don't know about Rolex's services. And that's what this next point is all about. Number 10. Official Rolex servicing has limits and strong resale impact. A big secret in the Rolex ownership world is that official service from Rolex is not unlimited and has hidden effects on resale value. Many buyers assume that once they own a Rolex, the brand will service it forever. In reality, Rolex guarantees parts and labor for about 35 years after a model exits the catalog. After that, parts might not be available, and Rolex may refuse to perform service on that older watch. Rolex's public materials state that they provide parts for at least 35 years following a model's discontinuation. Beyond that, if parts are no longer manufactured, service becomes impractical. In such cases, watches may be returned unserviced or redirected to independent specialists. Even if the watch is authentic, the customer would be informed that the company cannot service it within its strict standards. This implies that a Rolex watch without a full official service history, especially for vintage pieces, can fetch lower resale value. Buyers in the secondary market often pay premiums for watches with verified Rolex servicing because it confirms originality and factory-level maintenance. Also, Rolex has introduced the Certified Pre-Owned (ACPO) program. This official program allows authorized retailers to authenticate used Rolex watches, inspect them thoroughly, and certify them with a brand-backed warranty, typically 2 years. This means Rolex itself now participates in the second-hand market, providing an official alternative to gray dealers. CPO pieces usually command higher prices than non-certified used watches because buyers value the official inspection, warranty, and guaranteed authenticity. This strategy also allows Rolex to preserve control over its brand reputation and support resale value while marginalizing uncertified gray market options. The hidden truth is double-edged, so buyers need to plan early to protect long-term value. Ever thought about the need for proper documentation? Number 11 explains why. Number 11. Documentation controls resale power. One of the most important Rolex shopping secrets that many buyers overlook is the real value of documentation: the original box, warranty card, purchase receipts, and service history. These papers do far more than just prove authenticity. They control how easily you can sell the watch later, and how much money you can get for it. This is why Rolex papers and records matter more than you think. When a Rolex comes with its original box and papers, it signals trust and completeness to buyers in the pre-owned market. According to industry data, a Rolex sold with its full documentation, including the warranty card, manuals, and original receipts, can be worth 10% to 20% more than the same watch sold without paperwork. This premium can translate into thousands of dollars, especially for high-end models. The warranty card, which shows the serial number, model number, authorized dealer, and purchase date, is especially critical. It's often considered the most important document because it proves the watch was sold through an official Rolex channel and ties the watch to Rolex's own records. Without it, buyers often discount the price because they have less assurance of the watch's origin. Documentation plays 3 key roles in shaping a Rolex's resale power. Firstly, original papers give buyers confidence that the watch is genuine and not counterfeit. In markets flooded with sophisticated fakes, this trust is priceless. Secondly, original receipt and warranty card help prove legal ownership and show when and where the watch was first sold. This matters a lot for collectors and serious investors. Thirdly, well-documented servicing, especially from authorized Rolex centers, shows the watch was maintained properly and reduces buyer fear about hidden mechanical issues. But watches without documentation are generally harder to sell. Buyers may require independent authentication, which takes time and can cost money. Some may simply walk away, reducing the pool of potential buyers and forcing sellers to accept lower offers. Rolex does not reissue original documentation if lost, meaning you cannot recreate true papers once they are gone. This policy protects authenticity, but also means missing documentation permanently weakens resale prospects. Rolex documentation is not just paperwork, it is a powerful financial asset. It boosts buyer confidence, increases resale pricing, speeds up sales, and gives you more leverage when trading or selling your Rolex. Meanwhile, the next secret is something you should never fall for. Number 12. Some bargain deals are fakes. Too good to be true. Usually is. One of the biggest traps a Rolex buyer can fall into is the illusion of a bargain. Genuine Rolex watches, even pre-owned models, usually hold strong prices because of their quality and demand. If a deal looks much cheaper than market value, especially from a private seller or online marketplace, it is often a counterfeit or misrepresented watch. Experts in luxury watches say that price itself can be one of the first red flags when identifying a fake. Counterfeits come in many forms, but a common trick is to offer a seemingly genuine Rolex at a steep discount to attract buyers quickly. On many counterfeit models, the internal components, materials, and finishing are inferior, and the watches fail even basic tests such as water resistance or smooth movement. Real Rolex watches are engineered for precision performance, including water resistance to specific depths, and a fake often fails these standard benchmarks. Very cheap Rolex watches, especially those sold through unauthorized channels like flea markets, street vendors, or unverified online sellers, often lack the craftsmanship expected of the brand. Counterfeit sellers sometimes display these watches with false packaging, fake warranty cards, or incorrect documentation to make the deal look legitimate, which can mislead even cautious buyers. Social media also amplifies this problem. Some sellers use attractive photos, stage settings, and lifestyle imagery to give the impression of a luxury experience, but the underlying watch may be fake. These marketing efforts create psychological pressure to act fast before the deal disappears, which plays to buyer fear of missing out. If a Rolex is being offered too cheaply, the safest assumption is that something is wrong until proven otherwise. Rolex's reputation for long-term value actually makes genuine watches hard to discount significantly. Except through authorized channels or trusted resellers with verified authenticity guarantees. Therefore, cheap Rolex deals are rarely legitimate. The old adage holds true: if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Always verify authenticity with a trusted dealer or professional authenticator before considering a bargain. And finally, the last point, which is every customer's worst nightmare when shopping for luxury. Number 13. The super clone and Frankenstein risk. Another hidden danger in Rolex shopping is that counterfeit parts have become so good that they can mislead even experienced buyers and some professionals. Modern counterfeiters produce high-quality replicas, often called super clones, that use physical materials and elements closely resembling genuine Rolex components. These can include cases made of similar stainless steel, high-quality bezels, and even sapphire crystals. What makes this especially tricky is that even advanced counterfeit watches sometimes use a mix of real and fake components, creating what collectors call Frankenwatches. A Frankenwatch might have a genuine Rolex dial or bracelet alongside a non-Rolex movement or aftermarket part. These hybrid pieces can be extremely difficult to spot without professional tools and deep knowledge of Rolex production standards. According to authentication guides, counterfeiters can now replicate telltale details such as the exact weight of the watch, the look of the 904L stainless steel used by Rolex, and even finely etched serial number patterns. In some cases, replicas attempt to mimic materials and finishes that were once key indicators of authenticity, making surface verification more complex. High-end replicas occasionally even use Swiss movements or cloned internal mechanisms designed to mimic Rolex calibers. While these movements are not up to Rolex's chronometer standards, they can be convincing to the naked eye and fool buyers who rely only on visual inspection without opening the watch. Experts may need to open the case back to view the internal movement, compare minute details under magnification, and verify production codes. Even online communities dedicated to watch collecting acknowledge the sophistication of modern counterfeit threats and recommend professional verification and dealer authentication before finalizing any purchase. Counterfeit parts can be so convincing that non-experts, and sometimes even trained enthusiasts, can be fooled. This makes thorough checks, dealer verification, and professional authentication essential when evaluating any Rolex outside trusted channels. Rolex is more than a watch. It's a symbol of status, craftsmanship, and careful strategy. From controlled supply and priority allocations to documentation, service policies, and the risk of counterfeits, every detail shapes the buying and resale experience. Understanding these secrets, like how waiting lists work, the importance of papers, and the pitfalls of gray market deals, empowers buyers to make smarter decisions. Hence, knowledge is the true key to owning, protecting, and maximizing the value of a Rolex. If this breakdown changed how you think about luxury, let us know in the comments. Which of these secrets have you known before now? Do you think any of them is relevant? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss our next deep dive into the hidden dynamics of wealth, status, and the brands desperately trying to capture both. Because in luxury, nothing is permanent.